There was a time when Nigerian parents abroad could confidently send their difficult kids back to Nigeria to learn proper home training and reset their brains.
You are going to Nigeria first class tomorrow.
But with the new generation of Nigerian parents we now have abroad, many of them are no longer considering that option. Let's talk about some of the reasons why Nigerian parents abroad are no longer considering sending their kids back to Nigeria to learn sense. Emotional disconnection from family. So there's the story of this girl, Abby. Abby was a Nigerian girl living in the UK with her mom and her brothers. She was excited when her mom told her they were going to Nigeria for a holiday. But what she did not know though was that she did not have a return ticket. At the end of the trip, everybody was packing their loads to go back to Nigeria. Abby too was packing her own, only to be told that she was not coming with her family. Her mother took her brothers back to the UK and left Abby to start boarding school in Nigeria. She was just 11 years old then. Abby later said that boarding school was not fun. Not only was there corporal punishment, she had no one coming to check in on her. But her mother said she thought her father or her grandmother were visiting. Abby said grandma came only twice. Now Abby is a young lady, she's all grown up. But she's still sharing about how that experience left her feeling abandoned in school. She's just one of many children who came back to their parents with a feeling of anger, resentment, betrayal, even feeling tricked because she wasn't told she was going to Nigeria. Being away during her formative years would have affected her bond with her siblings and even her mother. And that's one thing many of the parents that did this are quietly regretting. Cultural gap. In Nigeria, children are taught to greet adults, never talk back, even if the adult is wrong and you are right, you should not talk back. They know that if they misbehave, hand will meet them. Abroad is a different thing. Children can choose when to greet because they know nobody will lay hand on them. And they are encouraged to speak up, even to adults. Things like this to many African parents looks like disrespect. When a kid can hold their own against an adult, it's called confidence or assertiveness. Abroad, this kind of behavior is encouraged. You should be assertive. And that's where the real clash begins. Something happened that just painted this contrast to me in vivid colors. So I was gisting with a friend of mine. She's an older white woman. And as we were talking, some kids were playing football not far from us. And the ball rolled over and touched my friend. One of the children came to get it. She was a black girl, not Nigerian. So as she was picking the ball, my friend was like, you guys should stop playing this ball. That ball hit me. You hit me. The girl said, no, I didn't. She said, you hit me. They were going back and forth. The girl said, no, I didn't. She stood her ground. She was looking at the woman in the eyes. They were both looking at each other. So in my mind, I was like, if this was in Nigeria, instinctively, I almost told her to, hey, apologize. I said, no, apologize. I don't know whether or not she hit her because I didn't see it happen. But she was not being rude. She was just saying her own part of the story. She said, I didn't, and maybe she didn't. So I said, yeah, this is Oyinbo land. This is what they teach them. Be assertive. And the girl was assertive. And the thing is, my friend did not feel offended that the girl was talking back. She was even more upset that the ball touched her. She didn't even make any comments on that girl talking back at her. But if something like this happened, maybe to a Nigerian woman, that woman may have felt offended, especially a typical Nigerian woman like me. Why would this small girl be challenging me? Because that's one of the ways we are taught to respect our seniors. You don't talk back. If your senior say you do, you should agree. Talking back or defending yourself might look like disrespect. So it's a clash for this child that comes from that other culture. And they are trying to figure this out all by themselves in the new land. So it becomes overwhelming. I came across a video by a YouTuber, Daisy. It's over an hour long, but it's really balanced and insightful. It's worth a watch. Her family was in the UK and they moved to Nigeria. But right now, she said her children are struggling to fit in school because what they learned in the UK, that when you want to answer questions, you raise your hand. It's not what is happening in the class. Children are blurting out answers. They are talking over each other. And you that is a good girl that raised your hand, you will not be called on. When she was saying that, I started laughing because you see these blurting answers, cutting lines that we see as normal in Nigeria. Abroad, they will flag it as behavioral issues. and they will address it early, so that by the time the child is grown, they have already learned structure and self-control. So when you see these children brought up abroad, behaving well, waiting their turns, raising their hands, it's because of the way they were nurtured. When these children are just packaged back to Nigeria and put in boarding schools by themselves to navigate this difficult terrain, it's hard for them to cope. So that even though they are here, they don't even feel Nigerian enough. And when they go back to their parents abroad, this confusion that just, boils around them. But why do parents stay back abroad and send their kids back to Nigeria in the first place? Some say for culture's sake. They want their children to experience the Nigerian culture firsthand, not this summer visits or just through video calls. And we also have those that say, okay, for safety reasons. I know a family who sent their teenage son back to Nigeria because he was joining gangs, he was getting into fights, and he was chopping suspension anyhow in school. And the parents knew that if they didn't do something fast, after suspension, it might be jail or even fine. So they had to do what they had to do. They just gingerly packaged him, took him back to Nigeria. But the truth is, the child would find his own type over there in Nigeria, because that thing you think you're shielding him from here is also right there in Nigeria. That's why most parents are saying it's not even worth it, because if he will still face the same challenges over there, let's fight it together as a family over here. But if we're being honest, most people that send their children back to Nigeria do it as a mission to reset the child's brain. The child misbehaves, the parents feels embarrassed, so the next thing is to package the child and send them over to Nigeria, where there is a reset button. You know that skit by McCallum where he told his dad that he impregnated a girl? I laughed because the dad was behaving as if there were no girls in Nigeria. Some parents that did it found out too late that instead of changing the child for good, the cultural shock combined with the feeling of abandonment can overwhelm the child, and the child becomes resentful towards their parents. Another big reason parents are stopping this tradition of sending a difficult child back to Nigeria is safety issues and the abuses we hear of in these boarding schools. Parents used to threaten their kids with sending them back to Nigeria if they misbehaved. But with the stories we are hearing about those boarding schools, the sexual assaults, the bullying and all that, even by teachers or senior students. Before it used to be senior guguru punish junior student, or take your food or flog junior student. Now it's gone beyond that. There's so much vices, especially in boarding schools where the children are more vulnerable. Most of those children that were sent back to Nigeria for a brain reset are now parents themselves. And thanks to technology, they are sharing their experiences. Now, for somebody that was sent to Nigeria for boarding school that was assaulted, do you think they would send their own child back to Nigeria for a brain reset? I saw a Reddit post asking how many in the diaspora will consider sending their kids back home to Nigeria. Here are some of the interesting comments I picked out. Someone said, "Every guy I dated whose parents did this said he was actually assaulted. My mother hinted at something like this about my dad. I see the pros and cons of it." Definitely there are pros, and the truth is some people really come back changed. But imagine somebody like this that was assaulted. Do you think they would even think of sending their children back to Nigeria to reset their brain? Another person said, "I don't know, for a long time I thought I would do this, stay in the US and send them to Nigeria, but I've heard too many stories about these boarding schools and bullying and extra assault by house help of girls and boys, so I'm hesitant now. No family member can be as careful, protective with your child as you would be." Yeah, because the thing is, some people will say, okay, they won't go to boarding school. They will be going from home. Even you as a parent, sometimes you will slip up. Like, your eyes cannot be on your child 24/7, but you try, you make effort. But when you now delegate that to somebody else, that person has their own life. They will not be as careful as you. They will, no matter how much they love you, they may have their own kids or their own things they are dealing with. Nobody will look after your child like you would. This one said, "Mine is the reverse. I did nursery and primary in Nigeria, then secondary in the UK. It gave me balance. My cousins who grew up fully abroad feel lost when they visit Nigeria. I wouldn't want that for my kids. This last statement is balanced. So his is the reverse. He did the nursery in Nigeria, primary, he's grounded, and then he came abroad. I think it's even easier if you do it like that rather than the other way. After experiencing abroad, you throw them to Nigeria. It's harder for them to assimilate really quickly. And that's where many parents are now. They are looking for a balance without breaking the connection with their child or damaging them emotionally. Many of us abroad are finding ways to raise our kids, to be respectful, to know our culture, to learn the language. That's why I love that video Adeola did of her kids. Little children speaking Yoruba fluently. So we can still teach culture and language and values and all those good stuff Nigeria has to offer while we are abroad. We don't have to send our kids on outside to learn these things. I also love the idea of parents going together with their children to have this experience together, because you as a parent, you were born and raised in Nigeria, you know the ropes, but these children, they don't know the rope. But if you come with them, you would hold their hands, teach them, support them, instead of just putting them in a boarding school and leaving them there and hoping that your family members will go and check on them. Even if you put them in a boarding school and you are also based in Nigeria, you still get to go see them. That's a bit softer than just you being your UK, Canada or US and leave that child in the boarding school all by themselves. Even as a family, it's not easy. Talk more of just the one person by themselves against the whole world. And you know, because these children have accents, sometimes they will get picked on. How do they deal with that? They are easy targets, especially because people think, Ajebo, they don't get sense, you know. They will get picked on easily. If you go to see your child every time you are in the know, you are in the loop, it will be a bit easier for the child. Like they say, you don't want to throw away the bathwater with the baby. We want our children to be grounded, to be safe, and to know our culture, but at what cost? Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.